Greetings, thank you for lending an ear to the Voice of the Times for Wednesday, December 8, 2021. For today's editorial, Mindanao, Philippines' best kept secret. When someone from another part of the Philippines is asked to think of what he or she associates with Mindanao, more often than not, the answer will be something uncomplimentary, unsafe, or poor, or perhaps backward. These characterizations are unfair, but it is perhaps understandable how those perceptions persist. Changing those impressions was part of the objective of the Manila Times online forum, Mindanao, Mind It Now, held yesterday. As our esteemed guest speakers describe the developments and opportunities to be found in Mindanao, the differences between what people on the ground there know is happening and what people elsewhere, for example in Metro Manila, think is happening became, if anything, even more stark. Guest Speaker Assistant Secretary and Deputy Executive Director of the Mindanao Development Authority or MINDA, Romeo Montenegro, hit the nail on the head, so to speak, when he observed that there are really two Mindanaos. One is a Mindanao that has consistently experienced economic growth well above the national average, with abundant energy, other natural resources, and land suitable for development, and is rapidly becoming a center of industry, agribusiness, and services. The other is a Mindanao detached in some ways from the rest of the country, where nearly 25% of the entire population of the Philippines resides but contributes only about 13% of the national economy and comprises several of the perennially poorest provinces in the country. To Secretary Montenegro, the fact that people outside Mindanao hear much more about the latter is a failure of balanced communication, a fault that we in the media should perhaps ponder. To Jesus A. Ichon, President and Vice Chairman of BDO Network Bank and another of our speakers, the problem may lie in the fact that investors and entrepreneurs who have found success in Mindanao may want to keep it a secret. Mr. Ichon was speaking in jest, of course, but there is a grain of truth in what he said. Having been for so long considered exploitable second-class cousins by the rest of the Philippines, Mindanaoans can be forgiven for being somewhat protective of what they have built through their own ingenuity and effort. This is perhaps especially true since they themselves realize their work is far from over. By changing our own perspective, we can not only help them attract the investors and customers to fuel Mindanao's growth and resolve its persistent challenges, but help the rest of the country apply best practices and effective strategies toward building prosperity. Instead of looking at Mindanao as just another place in the country where things sometimes happen, which more often than not overlooks successes in favor of the more attention-grabbing negative news, we should view Mindanao as a model. What the people have achieved over the past 20 years in often less than ideal circumstances is nothing short of astonishing. How they approach the challenges that remain is sure to be a positive object lesson for the rest of the country. As Secretary Montenegro explained, there are three broad issues that need to be tackled to bridge the gap between the two Mindanaos. The first is close cooperation and development between the public and private sectors, a sentiment echoed by Cari Lagdameo, President of the Real Estate and Construction Group of the Anflo Group of Companies, one of the most successful developers in Mindanao. The second is effective support for local government units or LGUs, particularly in view of the improved financial resources that they will have with the rebalancing of the Internal Revenue Allotment or IRA beginning next year. And the third is prioritizing assistance to the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region to help it get organized and function effectively. If the stakeholders in Mindanao apply the same effort to resolving these issues as they have in development in areas where things have been perhaps a bit easier, mainly around the major population centers in Davao, Cagayan de Oro, Zamboanga City, and General Santos, they will surely achieve the same success. That success can be emulated in other parts of the country, but only if we mind it now and observe it carefully so we can learn from it. And that's the editorial for Wednesday, December 8, 2021. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print. Subscribe to its digital edition or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter and keep up with the times.